You got to have a great memory when you're a liar, because you got to remember, what did I say to him? What did I say to her? When did I say this? When did I say? You know, if you just tell the truth, it's real simple. Well, here's Jacob, and God's promised him he's going to be the chosen one. The Messiah will come through him. But you know, sometimes in unbelief, we forget that God's in control. And Jacob's in the corner watching Isaac and Esau, and they're hanging out. Esau's the firstborn. Oh no, Esau's going to get the blessing. Have you ever been afraid somebody's going to intercept your blessing? Someone's going to get your blessing. I know it's meant for me, but someone's going to jump up at the last minute with a catcher's mitt and grab my blessing and run off with it. Well, Jacob took an expedient route through unbelief. He and his mom really didn't believe that God could talk to an old blind man like Isaac and straighten him out. Now, God can talk to blind people. God can speak to an employer. God can speak to your husband. God can speak to those in authority. He's really big enough to do it. We need God to birth a proper birth this year with regard to us believing He's actually going to do what He's promised. And God is big enough to fulfill His promises. Well, in the story, Jacob goes to ridiculous extremes to get his father Isaac's blessing. His mom and him make an Esau suit that's all hairy, and Isaac's blind, right? So he says to Esau, go make me some of your venison and bring it back and I'll bless you. Oh no, Daddy's lost his mind. He's going to bless the wrong guy. So they connive and they make an Esau suit, and his mom, Jacob's mom, makes venison just like Esau's special blend, and poor Esau's out. Well, he's actually a carnal nobody in the Bible. He's a pain in the neck, but he's out hunting, and Jacob comes in an Esau suit. Hello, Father. And the father goes, who are you? You sound like Jacob. He goes, I'm Esau. He goes, really? Come over here. And he feels the hair on his arms. He goes, you sound like Jacob. You smell like Esau. You feel all hairy. Have you ever tried to be somebody else? You ever put on an Esau suit? Have you ever said, well, if I could just look like them, then I'll get the blessing. If I could just look like them, I'll get the job. If I could just act with that personality, then I'd get the favor of people. Loved one, don't put on an Esau suit. Don't. It's time for you to be you. Jacob, his name, by the way, meant heel catcher, conniver, trickster, deceiver. Did you know that in an expedient moment, Jacob, instead of trusting God to give him the promise, took it into his own hands and did ridiculously deceptive things. By the way, the fruit of that was Jacob lived almost 20 years running from his brother, living in pain. You know, when you deceive, you just have to keep deceiving, and you just keep running, and finally you're going to be found out. Loved one, Jacob, in expedience, through unbelief, tried to manage his own life and his own blessing. And you know what? The good news is you can surrender your life to God. You can literally surrender to the fact that God will fulfill His promise for you. He'll bring a proper birth to the promise He's given you, even if it doesn't look like it. You say, no, Esau's going to get it. You can see in slow motion Isaac's raising his hand to go bless Esau. Well, somehow God would have intervened if they just would have trusted Him. I don't know what He would have done. Brought a lightsaber out and cut his hand off, Luke, I'm your father. I don't know what He would have done, but God would have intervened because He already said the blessing was on Jacob. And sometimes it looks like somebody isn't going to listen to God and they're going to pass you by. You can have confidence. There's a proper birth this year with regard to every promise that God's given you. And our proper birth lesson here is God will guarantee His promise. If He's promised it to you, He will do it. You don't need to worry about it. But even though Jacob compromised in expedience and brought deception into his life, nonetheless, look at God intervened, and by the time Jacob died, the 12 tribes were born. He had produced the 12 sons that became the 12 tribes. One of the tribes was Judah, and Jesus would come from the tribe of Judah. God will make your mess your message, and He'll take your test and make it your testimony, right? Just when you thought you were all perfect, you'll buckle under pressure, think that you've thrown it all away, and God goes, good for you. You're finally right where I want you. See, God loves broken vessels because broken vessels are leaky vessels. See, he can trust that whatever He pours into a broken vessel is going to leak all over on everybody else. So let's just be broken vessels and give God the glory. So we see expedience in terror. God took that horrible situation of incest and He brings blessing out of that situation. Out of Moab comes Ruth. Out of Ruth comes David. Out of David eventually comes the Messiah. God knows how to turn it around. But you know, this year it's easier to get permission than forgiveness. Can we just get permission now instead of forgiveness? Well, I'll just get forgiveness later. That's costly. Remember when you didn't want to ask Mom anything? You know, Mom, could I have so-and-so? You know, because you knew she'd say no, so you did it anyway and figured you'd get forgiveness later. This is a year in 2011 where we need to get permission rather than forgiveness. All right? So let God birth your fruitfulness. Don't take expedience in terror. Let God birth and fulfill His promise. Don't take expedience in unbelief. But thank God, God even entered into Jacob's situation and brought the Messiah. So there's still hope for you. Even if you've got your catcher's mitt trying to circumvent the work of God in your life, trying to catch the promise on your terms, God will still make His promises known. By the way, David put it this way, everywhere I go, God is. If I ascend to heaven, He's there. If I descend to hell, He's there. If I take the wings of the morning and I fly to the uttermost parts of the east, even there His arms are around me. So you can't escape Him. Nighttime is as daytime to Him. So wherever you go, there He is. Jonah tried to run to the other side of the world, and God found him, sent a big fish after him, and brought him right back to the shore and spit him up where he had left from. Did you know God has a fish hotel just for you? He has a fish prayer closet just for you. It wasn't a whale, by the way. It was Leviathan. It was just a special beast, we don't know what it was, that had gastronomical interests only for prophets named Jonah. And God has one for you. So even when you run from Him, you'll get thrown down in the water and eaten up, and God will make sure you get right back to Joppa and spit right back up. So, try to run. You can run, but you can't hide. In 2011. All right, third, let's look at another example of an improper birth, expedience through impatience. It's one of my favorite stories. Exodus 32:1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, make us gods which shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not, or we do not know what became of him. Did you know Moses goes up the mountain for 40 days to get the 10 Commandments? A little detail. Take 2 tablets, call me in the morning. Remember that? Charlton Heston movie? He's up. He's not indolent. He's not, on his prayer yacht or something. He is in the presence of God getting the 10 Commandments. The children of Israel, he's gone 5 days. They're a little antsy. 9 days, a little antsy, right? He's gone 40 days. And they start grumbling. Did you know impatience is something we need to watch for in 2011? See, impatience can trigger an expedient choice. Look at what they did. They got tired of waiting. We live in a fast food culture. We want everything now. We are a generation of instant gratification. My son wants instant gratification, Call of Duty. He wants all of his friends online with a headset, and he's playing with kids in China, Israel, all over the world. And he wants everything now. I said, baby, when Daddy was little, we didn't have everything. Well, we actually did, but you start knowing you're getting older when you start telling stories. Now, when I was little. Well, guess what? We had gratification, but it wasn't quite as immediate as what they're getting now. The children of Israel waiting. Can you imagine 10 days? Hello, where's Moses? We don't know what happened to him. Where'd he go? What's the matter? What's going on? Hey, what? It's like a chain-smoking chihuahua. Where is everybody? I don't know. What's going on? When you get impatient, you can make expedient decisions that lead to improper births. Guess what they did? They made a golden calf. Oh, that's a great idea. Moses is gone. Let's make an idol we can worship. Now you say, Pastor Craig, I would never bow down before an idol. Well, idols are idols, whether they're mental or metal. You would never bow down before a metal idol, but you'll bow down to your own opinion. I believe. There's your idol. Anything you give your full worship and attention to other than God is your idol. It may not be metal, just mental. You meet people that know everything, they're claiming to be God. I don't know everything.